It started with a drawing, one of those simple crayon and construction paper masterpieces that every parent treasures. My 5-year-old daughter, Lily, beamed with pride as she presented it to me. "Look, Mummy, it's our family," she chirped. I smiled, taking in the colorful stick figures. There was me, my husband Tom, and little Lily in the middle, all holding hands under a big yellow sun. But then my eyes caught something else. Standing behind our happy little family was another figure. It was tall, rendered entirely in black crayon, a formless, shadowy shape with long, spidery limbs. It loomed over us. My smile faltered. "Honey, this is beautiful. But who's this person?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light. Lily's expression didn't change. She pointed a small finger at the dark figure. "That's the man who lives in the walls," she said matter-of-factly, as if she were pointing out the family dog. A chill, cold and sharp, traced its way down my spine. "The man in the walls," I repeated. She nodded. "He's nice. He sings to me at night." That night, I showed the drawing to Tom. He laughed it off at first. An imaginary friend, Sarah. All kids have them. A little creepy, maybe, but nothing to worry about. He tried to reassure me, but the image of that black figure was burned into my mind. An imaginary friend. Why would a child imagine a friend who was just a dark shadow? And why would he live in the walls? The logic of a 5-year-old is a strange thing, but this felt different. It felt wrong. A few days later, things started to get stranger. I was putting away laundry when I walked past Lily's room. The door was slightly ajar, and I could hear her talking. I peeked in, expecting to see her playing with her dolls, but she was alone. She was sitting on the floor, facing the wall, chattering away. "No, you can't have my cookie," she giggled. "Mummy said I have to eat it all." She paused, as if listening to a reply, then said, "Okay, maybe just a little bite." She broke off a piece of her cookie and held it up to the plain, empty wall. I felt my blood run cold. She wasn't just talking to an imaginary friend. She was talking to the house. That night, I was jolted awake by a sound. It was faint at first, a soft, rhythmic scratching. It seemed to be coming from inside the walls of our bedroom. Tom heard it too. "Probably just mice," he mumbled, rolling over. But the sound wasn't the frantic scurrying of a mouse. It was slower, more deliberate. Scratch, pause, scratch. It sounded like fingernails dragging slowly against old wood. The sound seemed to travel, moving from one side of the room to the other, following the perimeter of our bed. I lay there, frozen, listening until the sun finally began to rise, the scratching fading with the darkness. The next day, while Tom was at work, I decided to do some investigating. Lily's drawing, her conversations with the wall, the scratching noises. It was all too much. I started in Lily's room, knocking on the wall she was talking to. It sounded hollow, different from the others. I pushed against it, and to my surprise, a section of the floral wallpaper seemed to give way slightly. My heart hammered against my ribs. I pushed harder. The section of wall swung inward on hidden hinges, revealing a dark, narrow opening. It wasn't a room, more like a cramped crawl space, a forgotten nook between the walls. The air that wafted out was stale and musty, thick with the smell of dust and decay. Using the flashlight on my phone, I peered inside. It was mostly empty, except for a small, dusty wooden box tucked into a corner. My hands trembled as I reached in and pulled it out. Inside, I found a collection of old, yellowed photographs and a leather-bound journal. The photos were of a man I didn't recognize, gaunt and solitary, with deep-set, lonely eyes. He was always alone in the pictures, standing awkwardly in front of our house, which looked much newer then. I opened the journal. The handwriting was cramped and difficult to read. It was the diary of a man named Arthur Pike, the original owner of the house. As I read, a sad and unsettling story began to unfold. Arthur was a recluse, a man who had lived his entire life in this house, alone. He had no family, no friends. His entries were filled with a profound sense of loneliness, a desperate yearning for the connection he never had. He wrote about watching the neighborhood families from his window, wishing he could be a part of their happy lives. He described the sounds of children playing in the street as both a comfort and a torture. The last entry was dated over 50 years ago. It was short and chilling. "The silence is too loud," it read. "Soon, I will be part of the house. I will watch. I will wait. I will never be alone again." I slammed the journal shut, my whole body shaking. The man in the walls, Arthur Pike, he had died here, alone, and his spirit. His lonely, desperate spirit had never left. He wasn't haunting us, he was trying to join us. When Tom got home, I showed him everything: the hidden space, the box, the journal. The color drained from his face as he read the final entry. The imaginary friend wasn't imaginary. The scratching wasn't mice. It was Arthur, restlessly moving through the hidden spaces of the house he considered his own, watching us, listening to us, wanting to be a part of the family life he never had. Lily's innocent conversations, the songs he sang to her at night, they were the whispers of a lonely ghost. We didn't know what to do. How do you ask a ghost to leave? How do you explain to a 5-year-old that her friend is a lonely spirit trapped in the walls? We spent the next few weeks in a state of quiet terror. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind made us jump. Lily, however, remained blissfully unaware. She still talked to the man, but we noticed a change. She seemed quieter, more withdrawn. Sometimes we'd find her just staring at the wall, a sad look on her face. "He's lonely," she told me once. "He just wants a family." We decided we had to move. We couldn't live with this constant, unseen presence. We couldn't raise our daughter in a house where the walls held such a sad and heavy secret. We found a new place quickly and began packing up our lives, a sense of desperate urgency fueling our every move. On our last day in the house, as I was taking down the family photos from the mantel, I noticed something. I was looking at a picture we'd taken last Christmas. There we were, me, Tom and Lily, all smiling in front of the tree. But as my eyes scanned the background, I saw it. In the reflection of a glass ornament hanging on the tree, a dark shape was visible. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but it was there. A tall, shadowy figure, standing just behind my husband's shoulder, its form distorted by the curved glass. My breath hitched. I frantically started flipping through other photos we had taken in the house. A birthday party, a casual weekend selfie, a picture of Lily playing in the living room. And in every single one, if you looked closely enough into the reflective surfaces, a window pane, a mirror, the screen of the television, you could see him. The man in the walls, the shadow, Arthur. He hadn't just been watching us, he had always been there. A silent, unseen member of our family, captured in our happiest moments, a permanent stain on our memories. We left that house and never looked back, but I know we didn't leave him behind. Not really, because sometimes, when I look at a new photo, I still find myself checking the reflections, terrified I'll see a familiar, lonely shadow standing right behind us. Thank you for watching. If you have your own chilling stories, share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales from the dark. Stay safe.